Ready?
And ready. Okay. Do-do-do. All right, and we are live in 3, 2, 1.
Thank you for checking in to the Checked In podcast today. We have a special guest with us today, and to introduce this guy, it is Hugo. How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing good, and of course, beside me is my faithful partner, Eric. How we doing today, brother?
What's going on, guys?
All right. So now that we got that out the way, Hugo, let's get started with you. Well, I wanted to have you on here specifically because I feel that you have a very interesting life. You're a young man, what, 26?
26, yeah.
26. Been through a lot already. So, to get started, I've always wanted to ask you, what really made you get into the military? Like, what in a young man's mind was, dude, I need to serve for my country?
So I'll take you back a couple years ago. The idea came to mind, honestly, when I was in high school. And when I think I was a freshman, I really wasn't really paying attention to, schoolwork. My mind was somewhere else. I was just more into just like going to school, hanging out with friends, and, doing the day-to-day life that typically, people have. Mm-hmm. So it never came to mind, join the military until my mom received a letter in the mail to go to this military school that was in Norwalk. And she asked if I wanted to go. And I never really intended to, go and try out to do this because, it was a difficult choice because I was like, either go to a regular high school or, go to a military school. And I was like, you know what, I'll try it. Well, why not give it a chance, see if I like it. If not, then, I can come back the next year. So I gave it a shot. I went for sophomore year, and I ended up enjoying it. I ended up liking the atmosphere and how I really changed my views on things, on school, and it gave me more discipline, honestly.
Right.
And I feel like that's where I really got introduced to bettering my life and trying to go into the service. I would also like to include that I wasn't born here. I don't have papers.
Okay.
So what's it called? Growing up, we always try to find a reason to try to better our lives, And so when I found out that if you join the service and you have a green card, you're able to get your papers through serving. So that was honestly one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to join, because how can I, not help my family out by getting their papers, So I knew it was going to be a big sacrifice, but I felt like, going to that school, going to Southeast Academy, that was a big influence for me to join. Also getting my papers and helping out my family, and then just the benefits that you get from joining the service. But yeah, it was because of that school that pushed me. It opened a lot of doors. It gave me the push of doing something that's a lot of people really wouldn't want to do.
Right.
Joining the service is a tough decision, especially going into the infantry, because that's what I ended up doing. Mm-hmm. But it was a cool experience, honestly, and I don't regret any decision that I did, from sophomore till where I'm at now, because it was a learning experience, and it was a good experience.
You're right. Dad, let me ask you this. Well, okay, for a lot of people that may not know, like myself, right? You went to the school. When you went to the school, is there a specific branch that it is that you signed up with, or is it just open and then you get to choose where you want to sign up exactly?
So the school is run like a regular high school. It just has that military and law enforcement background, and so going to Southeast. That's
what it's called, right?
Yeah, Southeast. Yes.
Okay.
Southeast Academy High School.
Okay.
It's in Norwalk. It's honestly just run like a regular high school.
Yeah.
And you got from freshman all the way to senior year. And a regular day at Southeast would be, just you go up, you're in formation, just like how they run it in the military, and you get inspected, your uniform, and then they check your homework. That's something that they're really big on at that school is, make sure that your homework's done. They work a lot with the teachers, so it already starts instilling discipline at a very young age. A lot of kids coming out of that school either become law enforcement, firefighter, anything in the law aspect, they go paralegal, law lawyers and doctors, or, et cetera. A lot of them start building up resumes and stuff like that at a very young age, going to that school. So I feel like that's honestly a good way for kids to start like looking into the military. And
Right.
but it's not Marine based. It's all the forces,
All of
Air
them,
Force,
okay.
Yeah, everything's
all
like
of them.
bunched into one.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask, because I know not everyone may know. So that's why I was kind of curious. I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what it is. Because I know I have a cousin that went through the same program. He actually went to the Norwalk one. So that's why I was kind of like familiar with it. And I know it was called Northeast, right?
Southeast.
I'm so sorry. Southeast. And and he went to that. And at first I tripped out because he's from Carson. So the fact that he was in Norwalk, I was like, what is he doing in Norwalk? That's so weird. And then now that you mentioned, I was like, oh, that's really dope. So you're local to this area then?
No, I'm actually local to Hawaiian Gardens.
Hawaiian Gardens?
Yeah.
Is that where you grew up, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so the letter went into that general area as well. Okay, cool. All right, nice.
Yeah, because I believe the school used to be part of the ABC Unified School District in like not Norwalk, Cerritos, Hawaiian Gardens, Lakewood, but then that school moved to Norwalk, and so now it's like for that school district, but.
Which is good though, because there's a lot of badass kids over there.
A lot of
Yeah,
a lot of
kids.
silver tooth activities over there.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. But it was cool. It was
Yeah.
a really, really good experience, and that's honestly why I wanted to join and why I wanted to do what I did, and it was cool. It was cool, just going in and experiencing that.
Now let me ask you. You said you signed up for what branch?
I signed up for the United States Marines.
Marines, right on.
Hoorah.
Devil
Cool.
dog.
Yeah. That is that how you say it? Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. Yeah.
Hoorah. Okay, I just want to make sure, because a lot of people take it to heart when you mess up something. So, especially the military, because I know they take that very, very serious.
Of course.
The thing. Okay, so how many? Now let me start you off there. So when you signed up, how old were you?
I was 17.
Signed up, and then when you actually went out to do basic training and everything, you were 17.
Yes.
You were 17. Okay, so walk us through that. How was that basic training? Because I know nowadays, I'm sure it's a little different maybe from when you did it, or I'm not sure if you spoke to anyone.
Yeah. That's honestly a good question. I'm not sure how it is now, but I'll kind of run you like how it went for me. So, 17, had to get my parents' signature and everything,
Right.
and to sign me away, and there I go. But you go to boot camp. I was 17. I turned 18. I think 1 month later when I was in boot camp.
Right.
So it was pretty cool actually experiencing a birthday there. And it was cool. But, 17, you go to basic training. It's 3 months long. I believe all the other services, they're shorter. The Marine Corps is 3 months. I'm not sure how they ran it now, but when I was in, you go through 12 weeks and then 1 week of like your preparation to actually become finally be a Marine. But all the weeks there, you go through courses, you go through trainings, you go through classes. But the first couple days, it's like you're finally getting your feet away from your family. For a lot of younger kids, like that's their first time being.
I'm sure
It is.
Yeah.
So you go on the bus, and I can remember clearly just heading my ways to San Diego. You get your last meal at Denny's. That's their first stop. You eat all the get whatever you want. That's like your last final meal.
Right. I didn't even know they did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was your final meal?
It's a good question. See,
You know?
it's a good
Let's
question.
see. Then, if I remember correctly, I believe I got myself a breakfast slam sandwich.
Oh,
at
right
Denny's.
on.
Yeah. So,
If I remember you telling me, you said that you saw one guy that like went all out, and then regretted it like the next
he
couple
went
hours.
went all out. He got himself like a steak, got himself like 2 plates. He ate just everything that he imagined, and I was like, asking myself, why did he do that? And it wasn't until I got there where you realize you don't get enough time to eat everything, all the food. But he ate out. He got ice cream. He got everything like dessert, whatever. He just pigged out. But you get your final meal at Denny's. After that, you load up back on the bus. You finish all the way. You go to the airport, and then they transfer you to another bus. But that's when you're one of the drill instructor comes up, and he tells you like, everybody get out, form up. They tell you that after this, once we get inside base, this is it. Like there's no turning back after that. You're officially on your way to become a Marine. So buckle up and get ready for
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
Very nerve-wracking.
Gotta
Awesome.
be, man.
Did you guys have anyone at that moment in time that was just kind of like, oh, fuck, this got too real. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, did you ever have just
Like not even maybe you might have had one, but maybe or someone else that you know that you're just like, dude, that guy just freaked out right off the rip when they said that, and that was it.
There was honestly a couple of people that you immediately just looked down, and if I'm being honest, I was one of those that looked down. Like I was like, this is hitting me. Like, you know, this is it. We're here.
Right.
It's, you know, but we enter the gate. A lot of them, I know for myself, I'm looking down because I'm. It's like a first experience of kind of like, oh, it's kind of nerve wracking. But then you pass the gates, you get off, and then immediately you're introduced to your one of instructors, and he's already immediately yelling at you. You know, so he's telling you, you know, welcome to MCRD San Diego. My name is so and so, and you know, he just starts screaming, get out, get in line, and you. I think they read I believe it's a placard, but you step on the yellow footprints, and from there on, you march your way onto. I think they have a waiting room. And then you immediately start training. Like it's not like you're waiting, you know, they're getting all your gear. No, it's like you're there. They're screaming at you. It's game time. So, and I remember clearly just having, I think it was like 20 instructors, and you can see them. They're like sharks, and we're like little fishes. Dang. They're just ready to attack us, ready to like, you know, hey, like, it's I sir, you know, and just the whole nine.
Trying to break you pretty much, right?
Immediately.
Right on.
Immediately. But the first couple of days, you don't get a lot of sleep for sure.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Apparently, you guys don't get a lot of
sleep for the week.
Well, on average, what would you say? How much sleep were you getting?
On average, you would get the first couple of weeks, honestly, you got maybe like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, just enough so that you can get through the day.
Right.
Just because they have a very, very tight schedule.
Right.
And you have to get so many things done. So you have to get your gear, and it's not just for one person. You got to think about it. There's like hundreds of Marines trying to be. You know, so there's so many instructors, there's so many different companies going at the same time, and everybody has to go in, you know, in unison. So,
right.
So for the first couple of days, you don't get a lot of sleep, but it's a mental thing. They're trying to break you immediately off the back. So they're trying to knock.
Trying to break you, or trying to see how mentally prepared you really are for this. And
it's nerve wracking. You know, you get your first haircut. As soon as you get there, they shave you, and it's funny because the guy asks you like, "Hey, what do you want?" And you can't say anything. He just shaves you bald. You know?
Let me get a fade, yo.
Yeah, let me just get a quick fade real fast.
Nope. But they just buzz it off real quick, and they pat you on the back, say you're good to go, and from there you start the training, and you know, and that's for 3 months. And I feel like for me the hardest thing was the crucible, because I think that point, like, it's a mental thing, and I feel like if you go back and then if you were to ask me, I think any of you guys can do it. Like boot camp itself is just a mental game.
Right.
Physically, it is hard. It is nerve-wracking, but I think it's just more mental because you're having young guys or even older dudes that haven't experienced that of being away from home. A lot of them come from the East Coast. We're from the West Coast. Mm-hmm. So them just being miles and miles and miles away from family is nerve-wracking to them. So you do connect with a lot of the guys there. A lot of them try to seek leadership already off the bat. A lot of them become leaders themselves. So you already have people...
Like they already know what they want as far as for going in.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But you try to make the best of it. I feel like in any situation that you try to put yourself in, you always want to try to look at the positive. You know, that's my mentality about it. I've always wanted to do that. You know, going in and doing anything that was new to me. But a lot of these guys coming in, they were just like, you know, they break down. They can't deal with someone yelling at them. But for 3 months, yeah, it's just constant yelling. You know, they teach you how to shave, they teach you how to shower, they teach you everything. Like they
do your bed and all that stuff.
Everything. Like they make you into that image of a Marine, you know, how you stand, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you eat, everything, you know. So yeah, it was 3 months, but I feel like for me the toughest one would be like the Crucible. Crucible is a 3 month 3-day course that you go to Pendleton. And after the Crucible, that's when they hand you your EGA, and that's when you're officially considered a Marine. And I feel like for me that was like the hardest thing, because I was more like you're with your platoon, your company, you have to do this 3-day long course, and that hike was, I think that was like the hardest thing for me, because like I'm not a very good hiker, especially carrying those packs that they give us. It's pretty heavy.
I've seen you walk upstairs, bro. It's not
but it was a tough hike. It was a long. I forgot how long it was, but it was. I just remember hiking early in the morning, maybe like 2 or 3 in the morning.
That's early. That's really early, dude. That's people are asleep, man.
Yeah, everybody's knocked out. I mean, the birds aren't even chirping at that point.
Now I know. Before you continue on with that, question for you. The Crucible, what exactly is the Crucible? How would you describe it? Because me, myself, hearing it, I'm guessing it kind of is like a Hell Week in a way. Is that what kind of is?
Yeah, so the Crucible is a 3-day like hell week for us. We go to Pendleton. We do a shooting exercise. We basically do like a 3-day like operation where our company hikes out there. We stay out in some like warehouses that they have in Pendleton, and we're basically for the next 3 days just trying to survive. And
right.
They give us MREs, but they only give us 3 MREs. And if people don't know what an MRE is, it's meal ready to eat. It's meals that the government provides us. They're in packages, and everybody that is in the service or knows something about the services knows that they're not the greatest tasting meals, but that's what they give us. But they're good. I mean, some of them are not that bad. But those are the meals that they give us, and obviously they provide us with water and stuff. But we have to ration our foods for these next 3 days. Some guys eat all of them because typically one bag is for one meal. So they would typically give you 3 bags for 1 day, but they only give us 3 for 3 days. So you would only have to eat 1 bag a day.
Oh, some guys just took advantage of just like one meal.
I'll be all right. I'll just get all the one energy today, and then nope.
I don't think Don would survive, to be honest.
No, I'd probably try to steal other people's MREs.
He'd start sweating out every piece of alcohol that he's consumed.
Yeah.
He'd probably suck it back in though.
Maybe
Get a little high.
Just don't move, you know.
But that's okay. So you pretty much rationed out your food, and then it was pretty much like a hell week for you guys. And what happens if you don't, like, I guess, meet the standard? Do they force you to meet that standard of like going through it no matter what? Or
so basically the Crucible is your last like test. So at this point, your instructors and everybody are on the point of becoming a Marine, and this is like the last thing. It's like the breaking point. So some of the Marines that get to this point, it's their last event. After that, like, you come back and everybody like sees your company like, oh, those are the new graduating Marines that are getting ready to leave.
Right on.
You know, so it's that last stride. It's that last stretch of getting that EGA, that Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, and, you know, marching down and finally seeing your family again.
Okay.
But
is that very emotional when you get to see your family after that?
Oh yeah.
I had to ask because, like, I know I seen the videos and everything, but asking someone that's personally gone through it, it's a different than just watching a video. You know what I mean?
It is because, you know, for me, that's my first time actually being away from my parents. I'm very big on coming from a Mexican culture. I'm huge on family. But I've never been away more than like maybe a week with my mom and dad or my family or my brothers, sisters.
So that was big.
So it was a big experience. Not, you know, being able to use your phone, you know, only write through letters. You know, it brings you back to like a modern time where technology didn't exist, and that's where I felt like, because like I was only communicating through letters. So like a month would pass and I would get their recent letters. So it was cool finally get to see them. You know, obviously you do get emotional, you do break down, you cry, you let it all out. You accomplish something big, you know?
Yeah.
And it is emotional thinking about it. But like I said, it was a really, really great experiencing going through that, marching down and just seeing my family. Because at the end of the day, like, I did it for them, you know? I also want to do it for myself, but I've always wanted to make my mom and my dad and my family proud, and I felt like that to me was like a biggest accomplishment that I can ever do to them, you know? Right
on. No, that's good though, because it's good that you say all that, because a lot of people, everyone obviously does it for different reasons. So there's always that story of like, oh, I just did it for college, or I just did it but hearing stories like that, it's actually, it's cool, because those are the ones that you want to hear the stories on, because it's like you're doing it for a deeper reason, and it's more meaningful, especially once you go through the process. It is more meaningful to you because you're like, dude, like, all the way was fucking hell. It was the best just because I had a purpose for it. Yeah. And I think, I personally feel, bro, I'm one of those that would advocate for, I think everyone should at least go through it. Maybe even if it's a 6-month course through the military where they really break you down and just put you to the ground and make you go through the course. I feel like everyone needs that. Being away from your family, doing all that. That way you appreciate everything a little bit more, because like you said, you were writing letters, and I'm sure when you received a picture or something like that, it meant more than a text message, you know what I mean? Definitely. So that's actually that's crazy that you said that.
And that's true. It really is like that, and it brings you back. It humbles you, honestly. It really does. But I feel like that's what made me, I feel like, mature a lot more faster than a lot of my friends coming back home, and then just experiencing deployments and everything that I had to do after. So it was cool. I'm telling you, like those 4 years changed my life. And from beginning to end, I felt like I kept doing 360, changes from when I was in boot camp to my first deployment to my last deployment to, where I'm at right now. But, the transition, just like I said, you had to progress, especially in life. You can have a bad year, you can have a good year, but I feel like no matter what you do, always take life as, lessons that, either you learn from them or you don't.
Right.
But, yeah, the service, man, I'm telling you, I can talk about it for days.
So let's move forward with this by saying, okay, now that you've gone through boot and everything, it's like, what was next after that? Is it just straight deployment, or was it like, all right, you're gonna be stationed out and like wherever?
Yeah, before you continue, I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but you said you did infantry. Okay, now as you go into the story of that, can you just describe us like what made you choose infantry, and then I want to hear about the deployments as well.
Yeah, so choosing infantry, honestly, a lot of my buddies going to high school, they wanted to join as well. Obviously, we all went to the same school.
Right.
I wanted to choose, the branch that a lot of people talk about. Who wouldn't want to be United States Marine?
Right.
They're always talk about Marines this, Marines that, Marines. Devil dogs. They're the Chargers. They're the ones always pushing in the front lines. So I've always wanted to be a Marine.
Right.
and going to that school, I've always like, I'm going to be a Marine. I could join the Army, I could join the Air Force, I could join the Navy. They're all good. They're all good services. I don't want to downgrade all the other branches. But I've always thought once you become a Marine, you're a badass for life. And I feel like all the other services respect that. And I feel like a lot of other services respect each other too. But I've always thought Marines are a little bit higher than the other services.
Right. No, that's good. No, that's good though, because everyone has to have that. You're proud of your I guess you could say branch, right? You're proud of your branch, so it's good. It's a good that you're saying.
Brotherhood
It's
too.
a brotherhood too. So
you're inducted into a fraternity of men that's been for however long.
For years. It's that brotherhood. So I've always wanted to become a Marine. You do the history, you do your research, and I was like, so I wanted to be a Marine. And so now it comes out to like what jobs you want to do. And obviously you go to your recruiter, you take a test, you take an ASVAB, which is basically kind of tells you how high you score.
Right.
The higher you score, obviously the more jobs opportunity you can get. The lower you score, it doesn't mean that you don't qualify for jobs. It just means that you're going to get jobs qualified suited to what you scored on score.
Okay.
I scored decently. I scored about an average around 60. I didn't score super high or I scored super low, but the job that I wanted was infantry. And I chose that job because I wanted to do a job that I felt like, you can come home and be like, hey, mom and dad, what did you do? Or what's your son? He's like, oh, he's in infantry. He goes and shoots, he trains, he shoots guns, he, blows, stuff up, like that. To me, that was like a badass job. So
that sounds like a badass job. I'm not gonna lie.
And I wanted to do it. And, recruiters always try to, tell you, hype you up. Yeah, exactly. Hype up the job and stuff. And I'll tell you, it's 50-50. You do a lot of badass stuff while doing infantry, but they fail to like tell you that there's a lot of stuff. Like, for instance, when you shoot in a range, it's awesome. You're shooting guns and stuff. But they don't tell you got to pick up all the brass after.
Yeah. Oh, you have to pick up all the brass after?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Pick up every shell.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
So you can imagine like shooting 1,000 rounds, 2,000, 6,000, whatever, and then you have to pick up everything.
Wow. I have a question for you on that, if I may. When you guys pick those up, do you guys reuse or do they just scrap them, recycle them?
I think they just scrap them, recycle them, but I'm not sure because
I know depending on. Because I know there's some place or some people that get trained to like reuse them just because like if they're out there doing I don't know God knows what and they have like their little device or whatever. Yeah. No, I mean, so I had to ask that because I was curious because since you guys are picking them up, there has to be some form of like reason for it. But I guess
But they recycle them, they pick them up. But
look at me trying to be green.
Yeah,
so funny.
But they do that, yes. But infantry, I wanted to pick infantry. Like I said, you can qualify for whatever jobs you want, scoring on the ASVAB. But a lot of my buddies became either supply or they were, what's another job? Communications, combat,
right?
Comms,
mechanics
and mechanics. So a lot of them chose different jobs that you could probably
use outside.
Right. But I chose infantry. I feel like the only thing that you can kind of relate to infantry out is like becoming a cop after.
Right.
But I chose infantry. I felt like it was going to be not that hard, but I was physically fit at the time, so I think it's more of a physical job, and I feel like I can do it. But like everything, they try to hype it up. Your recruiters talk about like, oh, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, you're gonna train, you're gonna jump out of helicopters, this and that. And some of it is true, some of it isn't.
Right.
But with training, it is hard, it is difficult, it is physically draining on the body sometimes, especially going through what's it called, your schoolhouse and then your duty station. So after boot camp, you already have the type of job you have, which is called an MOS. That's
what's your MOS?
So that's what they usually ask. Yeah, they always like, what's your MOS? What's your job? So you would say
MOS is like a definition for job.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure because I don't know if you see me look at him and I looked at you and I was like, I don't even know.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
that. Yeah, I was like, all right.
It was like that's to deviate, but like I used to watch a lot of those like stolen valor videos, and they would always be, "What's your MOS?" And they're like, I don't know, or they'll say something random and like, that's not even it. That means nothing. Like, what are you talking about?
You should have sent those to me. I would have briefed up real quick
Oh,
on that.
Because
I know you guys use a lot of like acronyms, right?
Yeah.
Language. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I know, like when you said MREs, I was like, I don't know what MRE stands for, but I know what it is.
Yeah.
And then you said meal ready to eat, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, all right, I did not put that together at all. So
wait, I got a random question for you. What's
up?
the worst MRE you ever had?
Worst summary,
because I know some are hit or miss.
chili mac.
Chili mac.
Chili mac. It's like
good.
chili
Cheese and
chili
mac?
cheese and mac. Yeah.
Damn, bro. That sounds good.
What would you do if you just open your pack and it's all chili mac? Like, bro.
Was not good. Honestly, a lot of the times they would give us MREs. We sometimes we would have to take them. Other times, if you wanted to, you could bring your own food. So a lot of people would bring like tuna. They would bring maruchan, and they would just heat it up with water. Since it's so hot outside, we wouldn't even have to heat up the water.
Wow, that's actually pretty
out there.
And yeah, you would just bring your own food, your own snacks, cookies, whatever, for base and for deployment.
That's wild.
But
yeah, no, I mean, not. Yeah, we
sorry,
deviated
no.
a little
No,
bit.
no,
No, but yeah,
no,
go ahead. Continue.
but yeah, finishing boot camp, you already have your job. You get a couple weeks off to be with your family. People go back to their homes, and then after that, you get sent to your schoolhouse. So my schoolhouse is unfortunately here in 29 or not 29 Pumps. It's in damn, I drew a blank.
Uh-oh.
Pendleton.
Pendleton.
okay,
There we
okay.
go. I couldn't think of the word. It's in Pendleton, and
My dad's been there a few times.
it's nice. It's really, really big. But we go to Pendleton. That's where the School of Infantry is for 03s. So that's the job title that we get, 03. And then if you become a rifleman, you'll be an 11. If you become, I believe, a machine gunner, it's I can't even think of this right now. I'm not even gonna say
No, don't even get into it because you might someone's gonna be out there like, no, it's not, bro.
Yeah. But 0311,
crazy.
that's man, it's been years. 0311, that's my job. That was my MOS. I was a basic rifleman. That was a job title, and you do your 2 month long, another 2 months after boot camp of schoolhouse, and then after your 2 month schoolhouse training, you get sent to a duty station, and that can be either in 29 Palms, or you can stay there in Pendleton. You can go sent to North Carolina, and I think you can go to Hawaii as well. I got sent. My duty station was in 29 Palms, so I got sent to the desert. So that's where I ended up going. So
Hawaii sounds a lot nice. So,
Yeah.
29 Palms sounds like paradise, bro.
Yeah, bro. Well, it does. The name's Palms. You hear Palms, and you're like, damn, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be beautiful weather.
And it was honestly a weird experience because like they were talking about 29 Palms, this and that, and as soon as you get on the bus to get there, it immediately reminded me of like The Hills Have eyes. Like it's
that's
just
beautiful.
desert and like it's
Man,
scary.
there's nothing out there.
Nothing.
Pitch black when you turn off everything. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But I'm sure the stars were nice.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure the stars were really
very
nice.
But you get sent to your duty station, and then that's where you finish your remaining of your contract, and whether your station gets deployed or not, or whether you're in a unit that deploys, you'll find out when you get to that station. So my unit was a deploying unit, and my unit was going to the Middle East. So I was excited because, I did a boot camp. I did 2 months of training. So I was like, okay, now I'm going to get trained to go to deployments in the Middle East. So now it's like, okay, like I'm excited.
Now I have to ask you this. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have to ask you this. From what year to what year was this? Was because I know now you're about to get into your deployment, so now we can kind of give people a background if it was a very active or it was like closer to the end of it. Now that's gonna be very, I guess, good for people to listen to, because like a lot of people now, obviously they did all that. It was already kind of dwindling down where it's not as heavy, not as hectic. So I want to know, between what years did you go?
So the years I joined was in the year 2014, and then I got out 2018.
Okay, so it was still not as crazy, but it was.
It honestly, it was kinetic during the time I was joining. It was during the president. We had a 1 year, I think, with President Obama, and then the rest of the years was with Trump. And at that time, ISIS was barely kicking off. It was like a lot of kinetic stuff going on in Syria. But at the time, obviously, I didn't think I was going to end up going to Syria. But that was the whole talk of the Middle East. Stuff was still going on in Iraq, in Syria, and all.
I know Syria was active, like heavy at that time, right? Okay,
yeah,
so that's crazy.
It was up and going. But it was a little nerve-wracking hearing that a lot of these guys were coming back from their deployments, and you just don't know. You just don't know what they experience until you end up talking to them. And a lot of us thinking, oh, they're probably taking contact, but that's not really the case. A lot of people think when they hear, oh, you're going to deploy to these places, you're going to get in firefights or you're going to get into some type of battle, and that's not the case. Most of the time, our presence there is just for
like
security.
Yeah.
So we either stand post, or we do patrols, or we're helping some type of officer general, like just a security force.
Right.
Some people do get selected to do some type of like side mission, or they get selected to do this like top secret. A lot of them that get to do that are either like in that type of field, or they just got selected because they needed the numbers.
Right.
But yeah, like going to my first deployments, before deploying, you have to get to your unit and you have to train up. You have to get relationships with your seniors, the people that they just went on their first deployment, coming back. Now they're going to train the new Marines.
Like what's going on,
Yes.
what's it look like, and things like that.
So the rotation should be like that. Those Marines that did their deployment come back, they should teach you everything. And if I'm being honest with you, it really isn't like that. And the best way I can describe it is it was kind of like joining a frat. You get to, like, we got there and immediately a lot of my seniors, they just got back from their deployment. So they're like hot, ready. They're like, I want my junior guys, and and they just want to train us. And when I say that is because they got mistreated when their seniors came back from their deployment. And it's like a traditional hazing thing that they did. They come back, they get drunk, and like I said, it felt like a frat. So we got there and we were immediately introduced to them. They're screaming, they're yelling. Right. It's kind of like boot camp, but it's more like a dude talking to you and like just saying like, hey, like, hey, what the fuck? Like, I need you to get your shit. I need you to come over here.
Right.
So it was a different experience for sure. Just because like I felt like I said, it was more like a frat thing. But you immediately have to get used to that environment of taking orders from them. They're going to teach you. And like I said, I didn't like that tradition that they had, of, oh, we got back from our first deployment. We think we're salty. We're going to haze you. We're going to teach you our ways. And this is how it goes.
Right.
And I never liked that, going to my platoon and getting attached to them. It was a different experience because I wasn't experiencing that. But you kind of suck it up. If I'm being honest with you, you kind of suck it up. You go through the training knowing what we have to do.
Right.
And then you go on your deployment. And everything in between is is not that it's gray. It's just more like there's a lot of training on top of a bunch of bullshit from company command, from internal drama in your platoon. There's a lot of stuff.
Now keep in mind, you're deployed, so that's not good.
No, it's not. So
it's out there.
So you want to have good relationships going in, but it wasn't like that. Like I said, our seniors came back and immediately they try to like belittle you and they try to make you seem like like I said, it's more like a hazing thing. It's like, hey, I'm a senior. I did a deployment. I did this, and in reality, you find out that they just stood post. They didn't do anything. Like they were just.
They're just those are dicks, bro.
So they wanted to hold themselves at a higher standard when in reality they didn't really do much. But as a Marine, as me going in and speaking about like my peers and everybody, we just kind of sucked it up. Everything that they told us to do, we just did.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I always told myself, I wasn't a pussy, I wasn't a bitch. Like if they told me, hey, go bring me chow, or go bring me this, or I need you to go fill up my canteens, or fill up.
Yes, sir.
I'll do it. Yes, corporal. I sergeant, or whatever, you know. And you did that for the whole year until you deployed. So a lot of it, like I said, not that it was hazing. A lot of people would consider it hazing, especially the shit that they did. But like I said, a lot of my peers, we just sucked it up. We just took it. We did our deployment. We knew, knowing like, you know, whatever happens. But we knew that we were going to either stand post or not do something crazy. But we ended up going to Iraq for my first deployment. I was out there for 7 months, and then 1 month in Kuwait, and then we ended up coming back.
How was Kuwait?
Well, I want to ask you about your first one first, which is Iraq.
Yeah.
How was Iraq? Because I know Iraq was very hot at some point.
Yeah, so it wasn't as kinetic. There were a lot of firefights going. We were next to the city of Ramadi.
Never heard of it, but okay.
And we were don't quote me, but don't remember how far, but you would see, you know, explosions here and there far. You know, obviously they were still fighting, but like I said, our presence there is just for security. So we would stand posts for a base, and just cover the sectors of fire for that post. And
I have to ask you in that situation, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have to ask you just so I can get an idea and that people can kind of envision it, I guess. So when you were there, who exactly, if you remember, was it that your target was? Because I know it was Saddam was gone at that time, right? Or he was still kind of there, because I don't remember.
Saddam Hussein was killed in
that
07.
Oh, 07. Okay, cool. And you went 14. So at that time, who was it?
There were there was a lot of regimes going
lot
on
of
at the
them?
time.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So there's like, it's kind of like out here where they have we have gangs and stuff.
It was ISIS mainly, right?
So ISIS was the big one.
Yeah.
But you have Al Qaeda. You have there's a lot of like sub. Terrorist organizations that either are running in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Syria.
So there was more than just one.
There's numerous.
Okay.
There's
Okay,
numerous.
okay.
But at the time that Iraq, we were helping the Iraqi army. We stood post next to them. So a lot of stuff that we did was with coalition forces. With different services, with the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, everybody was there. You know, you would see their uniforms, like, okay, cool, they're from another service or whatever.
Everybody doing their part, yeah.
And but that's basically what we do. We deployed to Iraq. We stood base. We would do rotation. Some people would be standing post. Some people would be on QRF, and QRF stands for Quick Reaction Force.
Okay.
So basically, if something were to happen, they're the first people to react.
Okay.
So it would be like a section of your company there, a section of your company on post, and then another section. We had another post in this compound of generals of the army, and there was one post because there was some Marines that were there sleeping there, and we had to send a group of Marines to stand post there for them. So it's kind of like their little security detail, but you would have to push out a base and go to this like general compound. It was pretty cool, but it was called I can't think of the name. But it was just another additional post that we had to cover while we were serving our tour there.
Right on.
So, yeah, we stood.
And now from there, you went to
Kuwait.
Yeah, we were in Kuwait for a month, but it was just waiting. I think.
Waiting?
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing really active as far as for that, but Iraq more was the activity.
Yeah.
Okay. That's still crazy though, bro.
Yeah.
And at this time, how old were you at this time?
I was 20.
Yeah, see, a lot of people,
so young, dude.
This is the thing, dude. Like, I have to say this, and I don't mean to cut you off in any way, shape, or form, but I have to say it because a lot of people underestimate like the age of you're kid. You're still a kid, dude. Like going out there. So, and that's the thing that trips me out because it's like you signed up at 17 technically.
Yeah.
You got your signature. You turned 18 or in there, and then you're 20 and you're out there, and it's active. Like people really don't process that. Like it's become so. I guess we're so numb to it that we just like, oh yeah, they're military kids, like going out there, whatever. No, dude, like you're literally a kid still.
Yeah.
You know, I know, consider
barely living life, and it's like, all right,
that's still wild to me because
here's an M4 and good luck.
Good luck, yeah.
Now I have to ask you, since you went out there, I'm gonna ask you, what is the, I guess, craziest things that you've experienced from Iraq to Kuwait or whatever the case may be, because you're young and you're experiencing things that are, I'm assuming some may be traumatizing, some are just super embedded. When you think about them, you're like, dude, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, if I'm being honest, the only thing that would, I wouldn't even say traumatizing, but I feel like when I tell this story, people are like, that is traumatizing. But everything that I've experienced, I took it with a grain of salt, even though it was traumatic, or even though like to some people, it's like, that you could have died. It's
Right.
like, oh no, I mean, I was fine. I was under a bunker.
Right.
But to me, I think for my first deployment was we took IDF. We took indirect fire.
Okay.
So basically, what that is if you ever seen, I'm trying to think of the movie.
Is it? Well, I got you.
It's like a mortar. It's like a mortar system.
Is it 13 hours?
Yes.
See.
Do you know that like
that mortar?
rocket? Yeah, that mortar.
Uh-huh.
So that's IDF. So that's what we
Indirect
were taking.
fire.
We were getting IDF on base.
Now I have to ask you, indirect fire. It has to be some form of direct.
Well, it's fire that isn't meant for your base, right?
But because
it was meant for the
Oh,
base.
well,
Yeah, that's
oh.
what I'm saying. Because that's why when you say the
Oh.
name in my head, I know there's probably gonna be someone out there that thinks like me, which is like indirect fire is like you're not directly trying to hit them.
So it's
right?
also like
it could
when people
still-
shoot RPGs as well, or like
Because at the end of the day, they can go pretty much anywhere, right?
in any direction.
Because you have to make sure. So I'm sure you obviously you guys get trained, perfect precision. Most people on that side, I'm assuming, don't have the training that you guys have. So I'm sure
They don't, but
Maybe that's
most
why it
of
was
them,
called
they
indirect?
they
maybe
some of them.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a little too technical on that damn name, but no, I get you. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no, I just have that. It's because, bro, I think like that. I have to say it like that. But yeah, go ahead, continue. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, we took indirect fire, and they were trying to hit us. A lot of them went over the base, and I think it was post 5 that they saw that they were getting
Closer.
closer and closer. It was going over the base, shooting over the base, far right to the base. But all of us, to me, that was my first kind of like weird experience, traumatic experience, I guess you say, because I was in QRF, and most of the time we have like a 6-hour period that we have to transition. So 6 hours you're setting post, so you have to be awake, and then another 6 hours or 8 hours you have to be on QRF, and another 8. So like you're kind of like gonna get cut off on your sleep, especially if you're in the rotation where you're either in the middle of the night or in the middle of the morning, like
Right.
early in the morning, like 1 or 2 in the morning. So most of the time, if you're on QRF, you're trying to get sleep. So I was standing QRF, I think it was like the last 3 hours, and we were all sleeping in our bunk beds, and the alarm goes off, big siren, incoming, and then like all of us are, what was that noise? We haven't heard it yet. And our gunny comes out, he's screaming at us. He says, grab your gear, grab your flag, grab your rifle, get to the bunkers. And he's just yelling at us to get out. And we're like, oh shit, something's happening.
And you were asleep.
She's getting real.
Yeah.
Bro, that's
You just,
bro. Imagine you get woken up just regular, just by your buddy. You're like, what the fuck,
Bro.
And then now you have other shit going on.
When guys knock on my wall to wake me up, I'm like, dude, this is not happening.
Yeah, dude, that's wild.
It was pretty intense. So your training kicks in. So you
Right.
just grab your stuff, everything, and you run into the bunkers, and everybody's like, talking to you, like, oh, what's going on, what's happening, and you hear indirect fire. You're trying to feel it, and you start feeling little vibrations here and there. You know that the mortar's taking contact or its explosions are going off.
Yeah.
We hear on the radio that post 5 is seeing it, this and that, and to me that was my first experience. To people, it sounds traumatic. To me, it was just another day of. To me, it was like training.
Yeah,
And it's crazy.
But
'cause
that's what they trade you for, right?
Yeah.
Hey man, you went through all this boot, you went through all this other shit. Now it's like, dude, it's real. Like,
Yeah.
get up and let's go.
So all of us were like joking, saying like, "Oh, like we're ready. We're fucking come push to the base. Like
Yeah.
you just fucked up my sleep. Like I'm ready to go. Like come on. Like
You just ruined my breedy sleep.
a lot of us were talking about like, damn, like what if one of these hit? Because like the bunkers that they have, I mean, it's only like 5-6 inches of like concrete. If that. So
Are they underground or are they just?
They're above.
Ooh.
They're above ground. So it's like, would it protect me? Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna still get
Shell
hurt.
shock,
Something,
gonna happen, yeah.
But a lot of us were joking like, "Oh, come hit us here,
Yeah.
But a lot of us were eager and ready to go, but nothing happened. They were just shooting at us, they were hitting us, and then that's it. It was more just kind of like them just trying to scare us and punk us.
Yeah.
But that was one experience that we had at base. Just a lot of stuff I think you just get used to. I feel like that mindset of waking up and just walking around and sleeping with your rifle, being with being in that
kind of like zombieing out, pretty much in a way.
Yeah, it's a weird experience. I don't know how to explain it to people, but it's just kind of like the best way I can explain it is like when people watch a bunch of war movies and stuff. That's the way they depict it. Sometimes it's accurate. I look at these movies and I'm like, damn, like that brings me back to memories of going to the shower or the chow hall and eating food in your uniform, carrying your rifle, slinging in your back. Like that's how it was. That's day-to-day living.
Because you got to be ready to go, pretty much.
I feel like American Sniper was one of those where it's like they depicted it so well, like
especially in the time that it did. Like American Sniper was a really, really good, really good movie.
Now, my question to you is, how do you feel about Black Hawk Down? I felt like that one was very I would say now that not that I've been in it, but I would say like that to me seems like accurate as far as for like how the guys are talking and how like things are people are just fucking around in a way like that.
That's a perfect example. And that's a really great movie as well. Stuff like that, I wish I could have been able to take part of like action like that. Unfortunately, we don't live in that area, and we weren't deployed in that area. But a lot of people think like, oh, if someone shoots at you, you can shoot him back, right? And unfortunately, no. Like there's so many rules that go to actually rules of engagement of actually just trying to shoot at someone. People don't know if someone shoots you and they drop their weapon and put their hands up, we technically can't shoot them back.
Damn, bro, that's wild.
Yeah, and that's just the rules that we have to abide by because so many people didn't do it back in the day. A lot of the rules of engagement started because of the people before us were obviously, doing a lot of no-nos. They were just shooting random people.
War crimes
and stuff. But those things, a lot of rules happened because of people, taking advantage of, what they were able to do.
Right.
But it sucks because there's so many rules implemented in the time that I was there that we couldn't do anything. We couldn't do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's like if I pull this trigger, gotta have a reason for it.
A real reason. If not, you're gonna pay them out.
Yeah. Why'd you spam these 6 shells? Well, what had happened? Well, no, you got to give me a straight answer, or you're gonna be sitting in front of a judge asking why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think is crazy. What a lot of people don't understand is like those young kids, especially, like they'll join the military just to be like, all right, it's time to go gung ho, and it's like, bro, that's not what it's about. Like, yes, it's about to defend your country and stuff, but there's also other things that are meant for you to do in the service.
And you'll be surprised the amount of people that we get, like for instance, my peer group that joined, there's a handful that by all means, like I'm more confident that I'll survive in a fight with them. And I'm talking specifically like people in my platoon and Easing Company, in 1st Platoon, 2nd, 3rd, or whoever. There's a group of a lot of them that I would, hell yeah, for sure. Like they're gun ho, they'll charge, they'll take a bullet for me.
Yeah.
And then there's some that I know for sure that will literally drop their weapon and run the other way.
Jeez.
And there's more of those than the ones that are ready to fucking like die and shit.
Can I say something on that? It's so funny that you mentioned that because David Goggins said something. And do you know who David Goggins is?
I do know David Goggins.
Yeah. I think everyone, at least all guys should know who David Goggins is. He had said, don't quote me exactly because I'm not going to quote it exactly as I'm sure because I'll probably mess some numbers up. But I think he said something along the lines of like, when you're out there, it's like, I think he said 90% of everyone that's out there is just target practice.
Yeah.
And then he says that another 5% is just hiding. And then the other 5% is just actually doing something.
Yeah.
And now that you said that, it's kind of like, damn, bro, like he was actually like, he was on point when he said that. Yeah. Which I'm not doubting David Goggins, but I'm just saying like him saying that is like, damn, personal experience type shit. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And like I said, like we everybody that joined, that was at the time, like my peer group and stuff that were Marines, a lot of them were physically fit to do it. A lot of them were kind of pushed kind of like to pass. And then like most of them didn't even know like why they were like there,
Yeah.
But you do get a hand from just a little bit of everybody, but you make everything kind of work with what you got,
Right.
But speaking on my peers and like people in my platoon, like I'm telling you, like I for sure would be more than happy if I had all of them with me, doing it than even my seniors, because a lot of them weren't physically trained as my peer group, and then my junior guys as well. When I came back from my first deployment and I had my junior guys, I was more than excited to have them, because now instead of doing the same nonsense that my seniors were trying to do to me,
break the tradition.
I break the tradition and just tell my guys, look, I'm gonna treat you guys first like a fucking man, before I'm gonna treat you like a Marine, because I feel like my seniors treated me like a fucking boot, like a bitch first, before they treated me like anything else. And I told them straight up, like, I'm not gonna waterboard you. I'm not gonna do the dumb shit that they did, or go into my room and like spray me with Windex and shit. Like,
that's random. Okay, yeah.
Hell yeah. The stuff that they did.
Time to wake up.
Yeah, it's some bizarre shit, and like I'm telling you, a bunch of hazing stupidity. But I wanted to break that with them, and a lot of my peer groups, they didn't think the same. They wanted to do the same fucking tradition.
Right.
But unfortunately, we would bump heads, and you would, oh, you're a boot lover, or you're this, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
You call it for what it is, but like I wanted to train my guys knowing that if they got the training that I wish I had, they're gonna do the same with their guys.
Right.
And now you're starting a new tradition. Now, instead of coming back and being scared of your seniors, you're going to come back and try to have more respect towards them.
Yeah,
Embrace them
yeah,
and
because you
listen
embrace them
to
and
them,
stuff. Yeah, that's
exactly.
cool.
And I still talk to a lot of some of my seniors. I had a okay relationship with. A lot of them I don't talk to, but a lot of my junior guys I do, and a lot of my peer groups I still talk to as well. But you just, like I said, you try to make those relationships so that, like, for instance, if I knew that we were going to somewhere that was going to be kinetic, like for instance, on my second deployment, I went to Syria and I was in Afghanistan. I wanted to make sure my guys were good to go, and if something were to pop off, they're not going to leave me to die, or they're not going to just be like, you know what, I'm fucking tired. I'm not going to carry him out.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to make sure that these guys were going to cover me.
Bro, and it's so deep when you say that, because I'm sure there was probably one guy who goes, yeah, he treated me like a dick. I don't know,
Yeah.
dude. Like, I don't know.
And that was me when I had my seniors. They're like, dude, like he fucking treated me like shit, like ass. He fucking no, like I'd rather fucking see you die or get hit by a grenade or whatever, you know?
Because it's like, oh, well, fuck. Okay, I guess. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
No, I get that, and that's a trip, dude. And I just wanted to ask you, like, throughout this whole process, like when you say you have, new boots or whatever, and I guess you kind of take a position of leadership. Is that kind of something that just naturally is the cycle, or do they say, okay, guys, now you guys are going to be in charge type thing? Because I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier how they come back and they do other stuff, but I just want to know, like, what is the rules or the regulations on that?
So you're immediately being scoped out by company commanders, by people in leadership positions. So immediately when you get there as a brand new boot, you want to be the best one. You want to outshine everybody else, so that when you come back, you're either put in a position of leadership, a squad leader, team leader, platoon commander, or not platoon commander, platoon sergeant, depending on the rank. But you want to stand out. A lot of people didn't like that because, you're
stressful and stuff too.
Yeah, stressful, and or they would just start making fun of you, like, oh, you're a try hard or this and that. But you want to stand out. You want to be selected so that if you are the best one, you get to go to school. So on top of that additional school that you had as an infantryman, if you get selected to go to the advanced infantry school, which is in Hawaii, I think it's like a month. I'm not sure, a month or 2 month long course. You go to Hawaii, you do extra training, and that training a lot of our guys wanted to do, because it's like you come back and everybody's like, oh, you're more of a badass now because now you have schoolhouse training under your belt.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff, a lot of people didn't want to do, because either one, they were lazy, or two, they just didn't want to stand out, or like I said, it was mostly just because they were just lazy. They didn't want to do it. But I was always the one that would try to, be a little bit more eager to try to go to either schoolhouses or courses or whatever I can do, so I can look.
Yeah, you took advantage of being there anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, and like when I said a little bit earlier, it's like everyone has a different thing. But I think me personally, like, in roles of leadership, I would want someone that's like that, and not someone that's just appointed just because.
Yeah, I want somebody who's gonna enjoy it. Who's like, dude, I want to teach.
Yeah, bro.
I want to be a leader. That's why I want to be leading me, obviously.
Yeah. And that's why when you say that, it's cool. And the thing I was gonna ask you too is since we were on the leadership role, is have you guys ever? I'm sure you guys have, but I just want to ask, have you guys ever had someone put in charge that you're just like, bro, like there's no reason for you to even be there because you've never even been out there, you don't know, like that type of thing? Because I know for sure, bro, like that has to be irritating.
Yes, honestly, yes. Like I had great leaders, I had phenomenal leaders, but I can 100% for sure tell you without a doubt there are leaderships in positions that you question and be like, why the hell are you there? Like why? And it comes from either being from a squad leader, platoon commander, platoon sergeant, whatever, to all the way to company commander. But like you just kind of figure out like why is this person doing this, And but yes, for sure there are people that you kind of question like they shouldn't be in that position.
Dude, okay.
Well, now let me cut you off. So you had just before we got on air, we were talking about some crazy stories, right? And you mentioned one person. And I know it's getting off track, but I feel like this will be a good story to kind of like segue into character. So if you would elaborate on, start from the beginning and try to explain like what exactly this person did and how it got to this. Because like I've been waiting to hear it since we got on.
That's right, yeah.
I'm like,
so,
dude.
And I have one after that so we can close it out officially because we only have a couple minutes. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so so one story that I had while I was in serving, we just got back from our first deployment, and I said like you build a relationship with all your buddies and your peer groups and stuff. And I had a good buddy of mine named Raphael Akins, and he's locked up right now, but I'll tell you the story. We came back from our deployment, and he was I guess he was talking to someone online, and they had like built a relationship. I don't know how far it got, but they were talking. And we came back from our deployment, and typically we go to this restaurant called Enchadas, and it's a Mexican restaurant. We usually go there just to drink because the food tastes like shit, but we just go there for the drinks.
I love it.
And we got trashed, and a lot of them ended up coming back to base. I guess I don't know if he had it intentionally planned or whatever, or wanted to, but I guess they were having argument or discussion, whatever, but everybody went back to base. He wanted, I guess, to go see her. So he borrowed a buddy's truck, I believe, and he borrowed a friend's gun.
Interesting.
I don't know why he needed the gun. I'm pretty sure he told his buddy, like, hey, like, I need it. Maybe go out to the bar and meet it for protection or whatever. But he left, and turns out he went to the girl's house and killed her.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
No motive, not.
I don't know if I don't know to this day. When he got took to court and they asked him why he did it, he wanted to claim he was crazy, like our experience from our deployment. But all of us were like, we all went on the same deployment, and none of us are crazy, you know. But that's what he was trying to claim, and that's what. But like, it was just a crazy experience because he did that, killed her mom as well because she came into the room.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then ended up leaving, and he acted like nothing happened. Gave back the gun, parked, the homie's truck.
Bro, that has to be so bad, bro.
It's crazy, though, just to do that and have a clear conscience like that.
A week passed, and we had a family fun day. Like a family, mandatory. Everybody in the company brings their family. We're at the golf course, and, like, we're just having, like, a small little picnic, barbecue, whatever. Everybody's drinking. A week has passed, and he had committed this act. And we're all chilling, having a good time. We're all like, okay, let's go back to the barracks. We're all going to have barbecue and still drink, have the party keep going. Acted like nothing happened. We're all chilling. And out of nowhere, I think it was like around 6 or 7. We're all going, like, we're walking in the barracks, walking around, beers in our hands, just like I said, kind of feels like a college dorm atmosphere. Cars pull up, a bunch of cop cars pull up, guns are blazing. They're like, hey, where's Raphael? Where's Rafa? And we're like, yo, whoa, like, what's going on? Like, what's happening?
What are you looking for?
And so they were like, I think he's in his room, and we're pointing the direction. They all, like, a team pulls in, they open the door, they bag him, they put him in the car, and they leave. And we're like, what just happened? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they told us, like, hey, like, your Raphael Wickens is the prime suspect of a double homicide. We're like, no, like, that can't be.
So wild.
And immediately we're thinking, okay, they maybe got the wrong guy. It's he, and, like, I'm not, like, maybe it's a race thing because my buddy is black. He's a big black guy, and we're in Palm Springs. There are not a lot of black people out there. It's all typically white.
Yeah.
But we were they're probably just they thought it was him or something.
Right.
Who knows? Later on they do their investigation, and it turns out that it was he did it. He actually committed the crime, and he actually killed them. I don't know for what reason. I don't know if it was an argument. I don't know if he was super drunk that night and just his anger got to him, but he did do it. They proved him.
Yeah, bro. Dude, that's fucking wild.
And it's the craziest thing. Like, I deployed with him, like, I shared meals with him, and then just, for him to come out and say that he was crazy just to kill 2 people is wild.
Bro, and that trips me out because it's like, obviously, yes, the whole story is wild, but the thing that still gets me, it's like, dude, you borrowed someone's gun and car, and you implicated someone else now. Like, that literally is probably like, yo, what the fuck? I didn't even know, like, what the hell's going on. So that's another person that they're investigating. Like, yo,
you gave him the gun, you let him borrow.
Yeah, like, that's a trip too.
Yeah,
like, a lot of people. Yeah,
a lot of our buddies that were part of the investigation that had to go, like, testify. They were saying, like, yeah, like, I hope you get locked up, like, because, like, you did something wrong, and, like,
you fucked up, dude.
You made a mistake, and a lot of us at first were
on
chanting.
His side, of course.
No, we were on his side. We're like, free Akins. We would try to, like, chant his name, but then we were like, yo, bro, like, you actually really did.
Like, you did that shit.
Yeah,
that's wild, bro.
For probably I don't know, no speculation, but probably no reason. It's like,
to me, it didn't seem like a reason. I feel like he was just drunk, and maybe, like, he was on something or whatever. Maybe. But, like, no, we're probably never gonna know unless we actually talk to him. But like,
I'll have him on the podcast. I'll have him. But just to finish it off, because I know this is a crazy story, and obviously we're running out of time here. But I wanted to just ask you, because you don't have to answer it, but I have to ask you because this is an interesting question. You went in on a time where you had Obama and Trump. You only had 1 year of Obama, and then you had 4 years of Trump. I have to ask you, which was more enjoyable, the first year or the last 4? I have to ask.
I think the last 4. I think like my time while President Trump was there was better, just because I feel like at that time he was eager and ready for us to actually do some type of like influence military aspect in the Middle East. I felt like Obama was still kind of like putting his foot down a little bit and like not letting us go, but Trump and a lot of them were excited for us to go out there, and it seemed like it because we got orders to go to Syria for a month, and then I got orders to go to Afghanistan.
Right.
So
instead of just holding it, they were just like, dude, we need you guys out there, handle the shit, and then whatever.
Yeah.
But that's cool though. I had to ask because not everyone gets to do 2 presidents. Most people just do one. Yeah. For the most part. But yeah, bro. I want to say thank you for coming on.
Yes.
I wanted to get deeper into other stories. I know you have more,
dude. It got away, but it was like,
I'm telling you, did that hour fly? It flew, bro. I'm telling you, bro. These hours be flying, and I want if you want to, you can come back.
Please, we would love to have you back
and we would love to transition into the other story that we wanted to discuss as well. But yeah, bro, I truly appreciate you coming on, Dom.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, thank you. I'm happy I asked you. Again, I live with this asshole, so, it was an honor to hear your story, and I was glad
bro,
to really
honestly,
have you on.
and
thank you.
And I can't wait for other people to hear this stuff,
Yes,
and truly do appreciate it. And do you have a social media account? Do you want to go ahead and promote that? You want to say, hey, follow me there, Instagram or anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, if you
want, you don't have to. If you want, because we give everyone the option. We'll put it in the description. So if you want, we can put it in the description.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead and say it, and then also too that way I write it in the description as well.
I don't even know.
No, it's okay. Don't worry.
Captain.juice with a number at the end.
Yeah, it's Captain Juice 69.
There you go.
So we'll go ahead and
find it.
69 right on. So yeah, we'll go ahead and put it in the description. So you guys can go ahead and give him a follow. You're more than welcome to come back, like I said.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and
right,
just to say it, if you guys haven't already, give us a thumbs up, share it. If you guys want to, come on the podcast, go ahead and shoot us a DM, Instagram.
Yes, subscribe to us, please. Don't forget to leave some comments. We trust me and Eric are looking at comments. I mean,
yeah, bro, we want to get involved. We want to
discuss. Yeah.
So with that, I mean, follow us. You can follow me at Enzo the God, ENZOTHAGOD on Instagram, and Dom.
I'm DOMOCORTEZ on Instagram. Please,
and then go ahead and follow the Checked In podcast as well. And yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
well,
appreciate it. And hey, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do some little corny thing that I just found on here. Hold on.
Don't. Here we go.
Is it? There it is. Thank you for coming on.
No, I
just got into it, bro. It's a button. I gotta push the button a little bit. But yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you guys for checking in, and catch you guys next time.